Good evening. This is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
And welcome to The Source. Let me just start off, as we always do, talking about what's going on in the city and what's happening in and around the city currently. Any shootings this week?
Yeah, unfortunately, the city saw a fatal shooting this past week with the death of Darnisha Green. She was a 20-year-old young woman who is the first woman that killed this year in the city of Wilmington, and that happened on 24th and Tatnall Street.
Yeah, you said the first woman. So we had all males. Oh, yes, wow, that's interesting. And 20th and Tatnall, you said?
24th and Tatnall.
24th and Tatnall. Does it any details on that situation?
So there's no additional details that have come out yet other than her name being released. She was found in the block and was taken to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. But again, this is just another incident that shows the gun violence that is going on here in the city of Wilmington. And again, I definitely want to say sorry to the family, offer up thoughts and prayers to the family as well too, as I know this, it's probably a very difficult time for them right now. But again, whether it's the first woman or the 30th person to die in the city of Wilmington, it's all way too much.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, and we're definitely praying for the family. And can you give me her name again?
Darnisha Green.
Darnisha Green, and to the Green family, we're definitely extending our prayers to you and your family. And I just hope and trust that whoever the perpetrator of this crime get caught, and not only caught, but arrested and prosecuted appropriately. Because one of the things that I'm constantly struggling with, Brother Kobe, is violence. While I do want a plan from the city, I also want to make sure that we are watching what we're doing, what is causing some of this. That's why we probably need some research done beyond a plan being done. What research can we do to see what's causing some of this, which we kind of got some of the answers to that. But what measures are being taken to try to alleviate some of this? It's sad. Who wants to be the first in this area?
Yeah.
Of all the areas that you could be the first in. So we are definitely going to be praying.
Yeah, and it's time that, I keep saying it, it's time that we just come together and build a better community to ensure that, we're addressing gun violence, addressing the crime in the city of Wilmington. And it's going to take all of us coming together.
That's what a community is.
One of them. But again, this incident, just a little more background. They found at least 11 to 12 casings.
Oh, wow.
As well as, based off what neighbors said, they believe it may have been an assault weapon used because of the distance she was shot from.
Oh, wow. Wow. Do you think she was it? Well, I don't want us to start speculating whether she was the intended target, because that's not our area of expertise. But wow, that's kind of frightening right there. Beyond the regular handguns, if you're talking about it could be an assault weapon. That takes it to another whole level.
Yeah.
We hope and trust that some more information will come out in the news or come out through press release of the police department, so that we can get a better understanding, so the community can be at ease. It's a lot of times people don't like to put stuff out because they want to wait until everything is completed. But in order for the community to be at ease, there needs to be information put out. So I hope and trust that they will put some information out.
I agree with you. And again, as we continue to go, the last month of summer, we've seen the gun violence pick up. Hopefully we have a peaceful rest of the month and rest of the year as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure with the grace of God, we're going to be praying for that. Another area that I'm concerned about is in the state of Delaware, but it's kind of like Wilmington too, because that's going to be hit the hardest. The News Journal reported that 436 households will be facing eviction as the pandemic-related motel vouchers are now starting to expire. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, so, the American Rescue Plan was historic. It was a once-in-a-lifetime funding opportunity for the state, and they created a motel voucher program to make sure people were off the streets, to make sure that, during this global pandemic when everyone was supposed to shelter in place, only go out for emergency or for food and stuff like that, you had a high population of people who were displaced, living in cars, didn't have the proper sanitation, who got moved to these motels and hotels. That program is set to expire August 31st. And there's some issue with it, right? So Delaware is facing an 18,000 unit deficit when it comes to affordable housing units. And you're seeing of the new affordable housing units, they're not truly affordable in price. They're affordable for that area, which again rises as market rate housing rises. But an estimate of 14,600 Delawareans are on these vouchers right now. Those people are going to be forced back into their cars. They're going to be forced back to, to the streets or to sleeping on couches. And the number that really sticks out, about 7,300 of those people have kids under 18.
Wow. Yeah, I saw that.
So it's really going to be bad, especially as schools now starting to start back up. And we all know that in order for a child to succeed, they need somewhat of stability in their life, especially having just a place that you can call home, where you can lay your head every night and not have to worry about if you're going to your parents' friend's house or cousin's house or bouncing around on different sofas. So it's very concerning. The state has case managers who are trying to find alternative places. You also have the DHAP program that's available if they do find somewhere and need help with rental assistance. But again, that is very easily said, but it's harder to actually implement. And we have a long track record of seeing why it's hard to implement. There's a lot of red tape, a lot of systematic poverty involved that keeps this cycle of poverty going.
Now, when these vouchers came out, was there anything also added to help them transition from motels to regular standard living? And what I mean by that is, they have the vouchers to stay in hotels, but was there any kind of counseling, any kind of guidance saying, okay, this is temporary, we're going to fund you as long as you need to be funded for the time that we have, but this is what you need to be doing in order for you to leave this type of situation?
No, not at all. And that's the major concern, right? That's that systematic poverty, right? So yes, we got you in somewhere, but we don't really want to help you get on your feet.
And it was temporary.
And it was. It wasn't like we had the money and then we all of a sudden lost it. We always knew it had an expiration date.
Okay.
And one of the things that Holmes campaign talked about when it came to this funding was making sure there is a follow-up plan, right? We're sitting on $1.8 million or $8 billion surplus right now. You can allocate some of that money to start. You don't have to keep it funded for the next 30 years, right? But for the next few years, so that you don't just snatch something away from people, you start, helping them get on their feet and become self-sustaining. And the state kind of missed the ball on that one. But again, it's going to be critical for community organizations, for activists, and for elected officials to work together in a manner that truly answers the need that's going to happen when we see these almost 15,000 people come out of the motels.
Wow, that's
and
really
this is spread across 25 motels.
Wow, that's and I'm sure we don't have many motels here in the city, but a lot of our residents are recipients of
Correct.
that.
And
yeah.
the ones the state likes using are right outside on 13,
right.
on Route 9. They're right outside the city of Wilmington, and those are where the majority of our residents are as well.
Wow. And is there any updates on even the Adams Street situation? Because I drove by there yesterday, and it just looked like they cleaned out the apartments and left the stuff on the lawns. But anything on that?
Yeah, so two things. One, they're protected, right? They're supposed to be able to stay in their motels because of their circumstances. And same thing with the victims of Ida.
Okay.
They are supposed to be able to stay. Their vouchers are still good. There was some money passed by City Council that was given to Nemours that was supposed to go and help with storage and things like that. Nemours has not followed through on the storage end, and at the end of the month, residents who have stuff in a storage unit right now, the person who's been funding them can no longer fund them just because their money is cut off. But that's why this additional money from City Council was given to Nemours to take care of that, and they haven't done it yet. So they are calling on Nemours to go ahead and pay, make sure that these people don't lose their stuff in the storage units or get their stuff thrown out.
So what could the city, does this the City Council or is this the mayor's office? What can the city or the mayor's office do to make sure? See, the problem is when you're telling people who are the recipients, they don't have the same leverage of power as those individuals like the mayor and the city council. So what could anyone do?
Yeah, so I think, the best thing for them to do is follow up and explain to whoever's administering that grant that was given to them. Just to clarify, this is what was in the resolution that passed, that this money was supposed to be going to. This is all that you can use it for, and this is how it should be used.
Sometimes I believe, and as I pastor a church, and I have several members, I believe sometimes in order to make sure you show the humanity side of yourself, you have to break not the law, the rules, and maybe somebody from the city council office should have been assigned to handle that and disperse monies to the various places. Because when you're dealing with a large organization, filtering that stuff down sometimes does not allow the people who are supposed to be recipients to get what they're supposed to get. So I don't understand why somebody from, if you said the city council is the one who passed it, said, you know what, we're gonna hold on to this, we're gonna find out where all the units are, and we're gonna make sure for the next 10 months, 12 months, a year, that these bills are being paid. When you give all this money to a organization that is large as Nemours, is what you said, you never know where the things are. And the people who are suffering are the people who have been the victims of what is going on. When will we wake up and say, you know what, we got to bring some humanity to this?
I know. And, again, this is just a very difficult time for these people as they continue to deal with trying to find housing. They're still out of the money that they had paid right before
and that's a problem
they
too.
got evicted. So, they're trying to recoup that money and trying to get back on their feet now as well.
Are they getting legal assistance?
Some of them have. They reached out to organizations like Classy and NAACP. But again, each individual has to make that decision. We cannot make it for them.
But a lot of them may not have the knowledge or foreknowledge to be able to know to make that decision.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I see what's happening. Yes, the city did a very honorable thing by getting them some help for their storage fees. But when you don't have the right system in place, the money does not help. We need people to be in a position to be able to say, your focus is to make sure these children or these adults or these whomever is handled. And everything I'm asking you is questions that I think needs to be answered.
I agree.
But I'll leave it where it is for today. But I'm going to continue to keep going back and forth to the Adams Street and homeless, because we are about 18,000 spaces deficient in housing here in the state of Delaware. At some point, we got to wake up and say, what can we do to make things better? We got to see all these vacant houses.
Right.
At some point, we're going to have to stop giving all these grants to people who are pocketing and using administrative fees to be the big part of the grant, to start really making the grant go towards what it's supposed to be. The next thing I want to just grab real quick before we go to a break is I want to deal with this whole search of Donald Trump's on the national side for Donald Trump's residence. Now, he called it a raid. It was not a raid. A raid is something totally different. But it was a search. It was done appropriately. But I don't know how to even start the conversation with you, because I'm just upset with the Democrats that they keep letting this man get in front of all of the press and putting his own story out there, and we're believing it. Just give me your thoughts. I'll do it that way, and then I'll come off of you.
Yeah, so I mean, first off, the former president has been facing a lot of political pressure, a lot of legal pressure since January 6th.
Right.
This search done by the DOJ and the FBI had nothing to do with January 6th.
Nothing at all.
Right? So I just want to clear that up.
Yeah.
What it did have everything to do with, which I find the funny part, is he took classified documents and transferred them from the White House to Mar-a-Lago. Now, why I find that interesting is because this is what he went after Hillary Clinton about.
Absolutely.
And he wanted Hillary Clinton locked up so bad
Lock her up.
that in 2018, before the midterms, he signed a law that actually made it a felony to take that, in that you have, it went from a window of a year to investigate to 5 years that the FBI could investigate and take action and charge you with a felony for taking classified documents and records from the White House that should have been going to the National Archive, right? So the law that he signed, that he targeted his former political opponent with, is the same law that has been implemented because he refused to turn over some documents. Now the primary focus of the search was to find his safe and find the documents inside that safe. Earlier this year, back in like January, February, he had already turned over over 15 boxes of classified information that should have never been out of the hands of the U.S. National Archives. But they knew things were still missing. So that's why this warrant to search his property in Mar-a-Lago was executed. And again, you know, just taking a step back, because of the potential him running in 24, the political pressure, the legal pressure he's under right now, I really don't see the FBI, the DOJ, and a judge signing off on a warrant if they were not 100% sure that they were going to get what they wanted in there.
But what kills me, and I agree with you 100%. We very seldom agree 100%. They would not have done this because they know the level of how he can turn stuff and twist stuff and make the narrative fit his whatever he wants. But why are we not saying with a very loud voice, you turn over the search warrant. You turn, meaning to Donald Trump, turn it over. Let us see. Because he has that right to do that without anybody. Everybody wants Merrick Garland to speak up and say something. No, Donald Trump, if you have been treated wrong, why don't you turn over the search warrant and let's examine it. And then the receipts, as the young folks say, give you the receipt, and the receipts of what they took.
Right.
Because what I believe, if they took something illegal, that's why he started a new narrative of they planted stuff. He knows what he's doing. And he has those silly, demonically demented individuals who follow him wherever he goes. And whatever he does, they just follow along. But he's changing the narrative to even making people believe that they have planted stuff because he fell and refused. First of all, the moment he took it out of the White House, he was wrong. So they gave him a chance. They tried to do everything quiet. They decided, you know what? Whatever it was, and I really want to know. And it wasn't no Kim love letter neither. But whatever it is that they really needed, they had to have it. And somebody on the inside, God always have somebody that's going to look out for the righteous. But God, somebody on the inside is the one who alerted them, saying, "Look, this document is here in this safe, and you all need to make sure that y'all come and get it." And again, I don't think that they would have signed off on it if it wasn't real.
Oh, absolutely. And the former president, he was not in Florida. He was not in Mar-a-Lago. He was in New York.
Yeah,
at a deposition with the New York Attorney General, who Tish James is the first black woman to serve in that role. And Trump has repeatedly called her a racist Attorney General who's targeting him. And again, Just a little humor for me is when he was going after Hillary, when he was going after her about the emails and other people in the organization. He said, if you plead the fifth, you have something to hide.
No, you're guilty.
You're guilty. Because if you don't have anything to hide, you'll just tell them.
That's right.
Well, not only did former President Donald J. Trump, plead the fifth while he was in New York. He pled the fifth more than 440 times.
Plead the fifth. I plead the fifth.
And the
Plead the fifth.
only question he answered
Let's hear that.
was that his name was Donald J. Trump.
That's right. That's right. Is your name Donald J. Trump?
That's the only question he answered. So again, this investigation, separate from the one happening in Florida, separate from the one happening in D.C. for January 6th, this one is about his business practices, his fraudulent business practices, which includes things like Trump University, which took thousands and hundreds of $1,000 from individuals who thought they were going to get a degree, and the college never existed.
Yeah. He's just been a con artist.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's so effective in doing it that's why I stay mad at the Democrats, because they just let this guy. We so nice. I don't like people who just so nice. You know, people say, well, Pastor Curry, sometimes you're too aggressive. Well, you know what? You got to meet the devil where the devil is.
Right.
If the devil come at you wrong, go right back at him wrong, so he or she will know that there's no intimidation here. And they let this man who is a con artist continue to brainwash people. I remember that so well. Plead the fifth. You know what that means, y'all. I remember him saying it, that they're guilty. Well, the only thing he wasn't guilty of was his name.
Yeah.
Donald J. Trump. And if they would have said Donald Trump, he probably would have said, I plead the fifth. Because you got to put that J in there. And I ain't going to tell you what that J stands for, but you had to put it in there.
Right. So, again, I think he needs to focus on his legal struggles right now and take a back seat to running for president.
That ain't going to happen.
But it is reported that he wants to run. He's already made his mind up. It's just when is he going to announce? Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, and nearly every Republican leader is begging him to wait until after the midterm election.
He's going to blow it all up.
But
I bet you he does it before.
His ego, I feel as though, will not let him to take that back seat, and he would want to announce.
And as soon as the Republicans lose certain seats, you know what he's going to say? It's because of the establishment.
Right.
And they're going to have nothing to do with him. And he doesn't care. He doesn't care about that Republican Party. He's glad they were so weak and feeble that he was able to take them over. So that's why he's just going to do what he wants to do, and can't nobody stop him. And I thought Mitch would be a little bit stronger, but he's coming out making statements that's foolish and crazy. This other guy, the minority leader of the House, of the Senate, not the Senate, the Congress. What's his name? The minority leader?
Steve.
No. For the House, not the Senate. That's Mitch McConnell. Who's
Kevin McCarthy.
Kevin McCarthy. He's a macaroni.
Well, Kevin sees the writing on the wall that Democrats are probably going to lose the House if Trump holds off, and that he will finally get to be Speaker of the House. Now, this is something he's wanted for a long time. He's actually the fastest person. He moved up in leadership the fastest out of anyone ever in a Republican caucus, except for in 2015 when John Boehner stepped down as Speaker of the House. A very conservative wing of his party did not think he was conservative enough. So they blocked him from becoming Speaker, and that's how we got Speaker Paul Ryan. He came in as the chair of the Ways and Means Committee. They liked him on his conservative tax issues and stuff like that. He promised to get a tax bill done, and that's what he did. So now McCarthy feels as though this is his time. He will be the next speaker if they're able to take the House.
I hope if they are, and I hope they don't. But if they do, I hope they select somebody else.
I do too.
Because you know what? There's a wing of that Republican Party who basically feel he sold Donald out. And I think they're just going along for right now. But when the rubber meets the road, I believe they're going to not even vote for him.
Yeah.
And I hope that happened. And then that will show him that you got to walk in your integrity. You got to walk in what you believe and not do things as foolish just so you can become Speaker of the House. Be for real.
I agree. But yeah, there's a wing that's super conservative, and then there's a wing of conspiracy theories.
Yes.
MAGA enthusiasts, QAnon people. And he did flex his muscle when one of them got way out of control, and that was Madison Cawthorn, and they got him out of there. He lost his primary. But you still have a few more left. You have Lauren Boebert from Colorado 3rd District, Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia 13th District, Paul Gosar.
She's running now, isn't she?
She is. She's the one leading the charge for defund the FBI.
Now who's running against her in the Democrat side?
She's running. She's the Democrat that stood up is a black cowboy named Marcus Flowers, who recently. Her and some of her supporters decided that they were going to storm one of his offices, his campaign offices, and demand that they have a conversation. He drops out. Now, he wasn't there at the time, but it was a bunch of college kids running the office, and they were very demeaning to those people.
So that's on the Republican side.
That's on the Republican.
So is there a Democrat running against her?
Yes. Marcus is the Democrat.
Oh, and she stormed into the office?
Yep.
Oh.
But, her and her colleagues are used to storming things, just like they stormed the Capitol on January the 6th.
Yeah. He's still running, though, right?
He's still running. He's not going to back out.
Okay.
And actually, he's doing great fundraising. He's on a ground mobilizer. It's a hard seat to win. It is a Republican seat. Yeah. But he's doing a lot of work on the ground. Okay.
Well, we hope and trust that turned out in his favor. There's so much going on in this whole political arena. We're going to talk soon about the... Well, matter of fact, let's just take the last couple minutes we have and just talk about what's going on in our local politics here. We got a couple people who are running, and what's happening? What's going on?
Yeah. So again, your ballots, if you have requested them, are now being mailed out. We are at that point where we are 1 month out from today. From the primary election, and I just want to talk about a few things, right? So on the show, you've heard me talk about the different ways you can vote. You can do same-day voter registration if you're not registered to vote, but also, one of the big things that I'm excited for here in Delaware is the fact that we have early voting.
Okay.
And early voting means that you can go to certain sites and vote early, just like it would be on election day. Now, not your normal voting place, right? They have everyone's ballots they can pull up and give it to you, and you vote that way. So, again, thanks to this new age, but starting Wednesday, August 31st, September 1st, September 2nd, September 3rd, skip 2 days, September 6th, which is a Tuesday, September 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, or all voting, early voting days. And from August 31st to August 6th, 11 a.m.
September 6th.
September 6th. 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. At the early voting sites, and you can find out on the website of where you can go. The one for the city of Wilmington, the closest to the city of Wilmington, well, the one in the city of Wilmington is the Shipyard Shops, 912 Jefferson Street, Wilmington, Delaware, 19801. The next closest is probably the Claymont Community Center at 3301 Green Street, Claymont, Delaware, 19703, or the Department of Elections Warehouse in Newcastle at 220 Lisa Drive, Newcastle, Delaware, 19720.
Now, let me ask you a question. Are you comfortable with the early voting? Because one of the things I wanted to do this year is I want to participate in that. I want to vote early. I know my mind is made up on the people that I want to support and vote for, and I want to see how it works, so that as we talk about this, I want to also feel the confidence that my vote matters early or on the day of the election. So you feeling comfortable with it?
I feel comfortable with it. I think the DOE has had enough time to prepare for it. These sites will be set up for these days. And it's the same campaign work. It's the same thing. You go in, it's covered. They announce your voting and everything. It's just like voting on election day. The lines are going to be smaller. And this also gives people the opportunity who do not get off to go vote on election day on those Tuesdays, or get busy afterwards and forget. It gives you an even bigger window to make sure you can. And the key part of it, which I think is huge, is the weekend. So Saturday, September 3rd, and Saturday, September 10th, and Sunday, September the 11th, are voting days. So that gives people who are off during the weekend time to go vote as well too. Now, unfortunately, it's just one Sunday here, the September 11th, and how that usually works in other states, and what I've done in other states partnering with groups, is souls to the polls. Now, I don't think there's going to be any for the primary, but for the general election, I'm willing to help plan one for Delaware to get us ready.
Yeah.
And that is, usually you go after church. So all the different faith leaders, Baptists, AME, everyone, has their service, and then everyone meets at a central point, and we do a car parade, or we do a march, we do a celebration to go exercise our right to vote.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to get our political action leadership here at the E-Zion, and maybe we do need to do that. That'd be nice if we can see how many churches willing to do it, because what that does, that's voting with strength, block, and power, and you get making sure that your people are able to vote. Now, you say, can we or can we not do that on early voting? Or
you can, yeah.
Okay.
That's that's when we traditionally do it, because it's that Sunday voting period.
Okay.
When I was down in Georgia working the U.S. Senate races for the runoff, that early voting period, in most of our key areas, we only saw a few hundred people voting on election day, because we were able to pull so many people out during that early voting window and made sure they had a plan to go vote. They were done, didn't have to worry about it. So when you have the Republicans coming in from the more rural counties on their, pickup trucks with their Confederate flags and everything, we didn't really have to worry about them. Now, we made sure we protected everyone, but we didn't have to worry about the long lines and stuff like that. And that's how we're going to beat Georgia's laws, and that's how we're going to elect more people here in Delaware as well, too.
Good. Let me ask you another question, because I know I have a lot of seniors who watch us, and I'm very appreciative to my seniors. I'm getting your responses to all our seniors. You're loving us, and we are loving you back even more.
Yes.
But one of the things that I was going to ask the question on is, you know how you talked about you can vote on, you can register to vote on, is that only for election day, or can that be for early voting too?
Yeah, no, you can go any day. So you can go there and register to vote and vote.
See, that's going to be critical, especially for souls to the polls. Because, for example, if we're having a service here at E-Zion and we build up to it and tell everybody, listen, whether you registered or not, here's our political agenda, but we don't want to get into all that. But when you can now go get on the bus, let's all go vote.
Yeah.
As long as you have ID, even if you're not registered, you still can just go. This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is awesome. This is going to help us.
So just make sure you have an updated ID.
Right. That's right. We'll that's a part of the prep.
Right.
That's a part of the prep. We're not gonna do anything that's not a part. That's why I ask you the questions here, because you never know who else is listening to us, who's watching us, and if you understand the process, you can't just go stand up and say, my name is Chris Curry. You got to be able to verify that you are Chris Curry for. If you're now already registered to vote, and if you are registered to vote, I think you still got to have ID, don't you?
Yes.
In Delaware. Okay. So that's very good. We're gonna go to a commercial break real quickly. But before I do, we have state representative races going on. That's what I'm most interested right now, and I don't know why. But what's happening with there?
So again, things are heating up in both races. On September 17th, there's going to be a virtual debate for RD1. That breaks, you're going to have an opportunity to see where everything falls out.
Yes.
Where those two candidates stand is going to be very interesting. But again, everyone is gearing up. We're in the home stretch, which is the time I love. And this is also the time where you start to see people try to differentiate themselves. So this is like truly when you get to the root of seeing who's going to pull this off.
Good. And do you have a location of that D1 debate?
So it's going to be virtual.
Oh, it's going to be virtual.
If you go to the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League's page, it hit forum. There will be a link on there to the YouTube page.
I'm going to make sure that I get that out to the people.
And then you can watch it that way. They will be in person, but everyone else will be watching virtually. Good
First half of the show. We get ready to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to come back with my favorite time of the show, Kobe's Corner. We'll be right back. And we're back. Well, again, favorite time of the show. Tell me a little bit about this Kobe's Corner.
Yeah, so, one that I think really hits home to what brought me on this show, what I've been working on for so long, has to do with police.
Yeah.
And finally, after almost 2.5 years, the DOJ, the U.S. Justice Department, announced civil rights charges against the 4 Louisville police officers over the drug raid that led to the death of Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
That drug raid was a no-knock warrant that was executed at the wrong house and led to the death of EMS by the name of Breonna Taylor, who was only 26 at the time. And this also highlights the grave injustice done by Kentucky Attorney General David Cameron, who could have brought these same charges to this case, that also the DOJ has found that the officers have changed what the original warrant said to try to make sure that they covered their own selves. One, this is a huge step towards accountability. And these officers, not only did they fail to realize they were at the wrong house, but when they started shooting, they just fired.
Wow.
One officer fired 11 rounds into a wall that went into someone else's house.
Thinking? That's crazy.
So, these charges are against former officer Joshua Kings, Brett Hackison, and Kelly Goodlett, as well as current officer Sergeant Kelly Meany, or Kyle Meany. I apologize for that. So, again, anyone who follows me on Twitter has known me to tweet out over these last 2 years that today is a good day to arrest and charge the officers who killed Breonna Taylor. I've worked with her family, especially with her aunt, Bianca Alston. And to see this finally happen after nearly 2 years, yes, it's a good step for accountability. It should not have taken this long.
Now, did they get arrested?
They were arrested.
They were arrested.
They were arrested.
It's a
Their
good day.
mugshots are
It's a good day.
out.
It's a good day.
So this starts the trial.
Right.
And again, it's a first step for accountability. Now we hope that they are held accountable fully.
Okay. All right.
On top of that, speaking of police brutality, and I know I didn't have this in my talking point, but you got me emotional now. Derek Chauvin, the officer who put his knee on the back of George Floyd's neck, is being held in a Minnesota detention facility, correctional facility. And there was a group of black correctional officers in this facility who their jobs were hindered because they were the supervisors made sure that they had nothing to do with Derek Chauvin being arrested, because they feared that because they were black, they were going to take action and retaliate. So these officers sued, and they were awarded millions of dollars.
Good for them.
For hindering their jobs. Now they can retire.
That's right.
And go about their lives.
Nobody cared about the inhumane steps that Chauvin what's his name?
Chauvin.
Chauvin did to that black man.
Correct.
But now they want to protect this white guy and do this. Congratulations to those African American cops.
And again, bringing full circle of the 3 untimely deaths of black people during 2020 that led to the uprising. The one that started it, Ahmaud Arbery, his 3 killers were all sentenced to life.
Yeah.
And to hear the one who actually killed Ahmaud make a plea that he fears for his life, because of how people looks at him and the threats he received, but he had no morale or moral compass when it came to killing Ahmaud Arbery. So
and recording it.
Yeah. So I'm glad that all those cases, the people who murdered these unarmed, innocent black people are being held accountable to some degree in various different ways.
In the silent storm, I'm going to talk a little bit about something that's going on here in Southbridge. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that this woman said in a letter she wrote to the mayor and to others is that I use language to turn whites against blacks. That's the new thing that's going on now with black people allowing white folks to make them turn on us to say you can't use certain language, you can't do certain things. They had no humanity at all for the black a person who was killed unarmed, and yet you fear for your life because of the way somebody's looking at you. Mm-hmm. Come on, where was your humanity when this man was just jogging up the street and he did not even bother anyone? Mm-hmm. This is just unbelievable.
Next, I want to talk about, we talked about it on the show last week, the Inflation Reduction Act, and it has passed the Senate, which is huge, right? We didn't know if it was going to get over that hump. This past weekend, Vice President Harris had to come back to the Senate and be the tie-breaking vote on Sunday, but they got it over after more than 15 hours of debate. On the floor, they were able to get it passed, and then now goes to the House. That was a huge win, not only for the Senate, but for President Biden as well too.
Let me do a little questioning to you, because I was concerned about that. I'm glad. I wanted that bill passed, but I was a little concerned that it was not bipartisan. I know I'm tired of this politicalizing what's going on. But you mean the Republicans who are really more liberal in their approach? What's the woman's name? What is her name? It was only 2 Republican women. The real
Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins.
Susan Collins. You mean she could not vote for this?
No, she stood her ground because it is a spending bill, so we are putting out money. But the government's putting out money to bring down costs.
But she's voted to say yes for Donald Trump, and he put us in more debt than any other president in our history.
Exactly. But, a lot of the Republicans found issue with the climate portion of the bill. But also, I want to highlight some of the other things that not all Republicans voted against, but 43 of them voted against capping insulin prices, so that we don't have people paying hundreds of dollars for life-saving medicine. You had, and for seniors, it's $35 was the cap. I think that's a very bipartisan issue.
Yeah, very.
Even for the younger senators, they know that a lot of seniors are on fixed incomes, and with the rising prices of medicine alone, with the fact that as you age, you also are more likely to have more medicines, that we should do everything in our power to make sure we keep those costs as low as possible.
Right.
And for 43 Republicans to say, no, let's keep it rising, because that profit's going to be good for the CEOs, who are then in turn going to give us, $10,000, $20,000 checks. That's not good.
Yeah.
But this bill, again, is monumental. It's going to reduce the carbon emission by 40% by 2030. It's going to invest over $370 billion into climate, especially green jobs, as well as bringing down the price for prescription drug savings, and change some of the taxes as well too, to make sure that it's not a burden that's being carried by our elders in the community. So again, I think this bill is going to have a huge impact. It's when we look at this on the long term, we're going to see that this bill is going to be monumental in the same light that the ACA was monumental for the Obama administration. So we look forward to the House passing it relatively soon.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And next, I want to talk about a bill that is going to create good paying jobs here. It's going to address supply chain issues, and it's going to really accelerate our manufacturing industry into the future to put us back at the forefront. And it has to do a lot with microchips, which was invented in America. And we used to be the #1 producer. Right. We're now number 9. Wow. China has gone from number 12 to number 2. And we are in constant competition with them. This is going to revitalize just domestic manufacturing overall. And that was President Biden, along with Vice President Harris in attendance, signed the CHIPS and Science Act of 2022. And while the vice president was there, I was also there. I was in the third row, and it was an opportunity that I did not want to miss because of how big of an impact that's going to mean on future generations as well too. This will help build on historic investments into our workers, into our economies, into our business, and help bring us in more into the 21st century and win this race of technology. So again, this is, billions of dollars are going to be invested into boosting American semiconductor research, development, and production. There, I was able to talk to CEOs of all different type of energy companies, and one that really spoke out to me was Josh Velez, who actually spoke at it, and he is a young Afro-Latino who is based out of Buffalo, New York. His company's based in Boston, Massachusetts, but they it's called Spark Charge or Charge Spark, and what they do is on-site delivery of fast charging for your car, so that you can have an EV, electric vehicle, anywhere in the nation, and they will come deliver a charge to you, so you don't have to find a gas station that has a charging site and stuff like that. Excellent. It's a fast-growing industry. It's innovative, and again, with more semiconductors being created here in America, that's going to bring down the costs and allow him to expand and hire more people into that field. And again, this just is a historic investment into making sure that we are at the top of our game and that we're competitive here in America.
Great. This is some good news for America. Yeah. And it seems like when the Democrats are in charge, we do some very innovative and strong things. It's just that we lose elections and then we let the other president get all the credit for it.
Exactly.
But I hope we hold on to this. Next week, I want you to start thinking about something. You ain't got to use it in the Kobe corner. I'll bring it into another corner. But I want you to start thinking about whether or not you think Biden should win. Don't answer right now. I mean, because that's a big debate going on in our country right now. We're going to come back in a few minutes after this commercial break, and I just want to spend a little bit of time talking about something that's going on over here in Southbridge with E-Zion Fair. I think it's important, as I continue to maintain my integrity with you, that you get a chance to hear some of the things and some of the battles that we have to confront here as just trying to move a community to another level. We'll be right back. And we're back. I just wanted to take a moment today during this time of The Source to talk about something that's bothering me as a pastor, a leader in this community. I know clearly that I personally do not live in the Southbridge section of the city. This church, E. Zion Fair, was founded in 1919 in the Southbridge section of the city, right around the corner on Hill Street, 313. A few years they went away downtown, and then when I became pastor, we moved back to our community that we love. Southbridge is a very powerful, rich community with a rich history and legacy. And our goal as E. Zion Fair is to always be a blessing to whatever community that we're in. You've heard us say things like Wilmington, E. Zion Fair is Wilmington's most exciting church. That's the pride we have as parishioners of E. Zion Fair. There's no arrogance in that. We know there are churches all over across this city that have wonderful worship experiences, that worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. We know that. But it's the pride of us loving our place of worship causes us to say those things, but it has nothing to do with arrogance. The title arrogant has certainly been labeled on me because I don't allow others to define me or to define who I am and what I do. I let God do that. And I try my best to always let people see my heart. And my heart is to love people. And if anybody, especially those of you who know me, ever needed any help, you know I'm the first person to stand up for you. I'm the first person to go in his pocket to give, because God blessed me so I could be a blessing to you. I was a little heartbroken when I was one family in the Southbridge section was sick. They sicked that family on me or on E. Zion Fair. We're trying to build a senior living suite style facility. I'm going to have our people to put it on the screen so you can see the facility that we are trying to build. And we knew that there was going to be some games played because there's a hate crowd out there, part of the political arena, because I speak out and I say what I say, who want to make sure we keep E. Zion Fair or any black person at bay. We've come over here, we built E. Zion Fair, which was about a $3.5 million project. We also built the Holdness Center, which was about an almost $4 million project. And now we've decided we have to give something back to our seniors. We've taken care of everybody else, but we wanted to take care of our seniors. You've heard us talk about on this show about the state of Delaware having 18,000 deficit or deficiency with housing, and we fail to realize a lot of those persons are seniors who have been classed not able to work, disabled, and things of that nature. And we decided we wanted to have a Class Act facility. Just between 12 to 15 apartment units will be in it. And we wanted to build it right here in Southbridge, and we still plan to build it right here in Southbridge. But it bothers me when we've done the worst sin that we've committed in this community is that on Sundays, we park in front of some people's houses. We watch the streets during the week. There's no parking issue here during the week. There's a whole lot, but one family was sent to make sure they raise up enough noise to try to block and stop this program. We are well aware that Hanifa Shabazz is the one who's behind all of this. Yes, the ex-politician, yes, the co-conspirator of something she was not charged with because of a deal probably was cut. But we understand that she's behind all of this. When she was in office as the city council president, when she was in office as a council person, she did nothing that did not benefit her pockets for Southbridge. But now all of a sudden, she's the savior, she's the Lord for Southbridge. I want to say about Miss Harley, who is our councilwoman, she's done a phenomenal job of just servicing the people. When I went to her to share our project, I laid out the foundation. She had no issues. She wanted to talk to the community to see how it worked out. But I don't understand where Shabazz thinks that she's going to beat E. Zion Fair, because she's going to sick a family on us. We will fight this to the end. I don't live in this community, but I love this community. My parishioners are from this community. Many of them were born and raised in this community. And we will not allow Hanifa and her Klansmen to stop or block what we're doing here. We have never asked the government for anything. We have paid for stuff out of our tithing and our offerings. And we are not going to now allow a person who is a co-conspirator, who have made sure the coffers always included her getting something out of it, to send people. I'm not that slow. I know who's sending the person. She didn't even show up for the Civic Association meeting, which I opened the meeting by simply saying, hey, I apologize if we have offended. The community wanted to know how could they be a part of the Wholeness Center. When we shared the whole process, many of them have gotten memberships to the gym, cost them no money at all, and they are happy and content. We have connections. We have relationships with various organizations in the city. We are the largest, other than the port, in Southbridge, other than the port. We are the largest, and I guess in the supermarket, largest employer in this section of the city. We have over 30 employees at East Zion Fair. We're doing what we're supposed to do. We're maintaining our integrity. And she would have the audacity to sick a family on this church. You will be uncovered, and it's going to come. And things that we have tried to cover you with prayer, maybe we need to start exposing it so you'll understand the scripture that says, touch not God's anointed and do his prophet no harm. I shared that with her directly, and I want all of you to hear this because the rumors of the street sometimes get in front of truth. We've done nothing wrong. There's no, Southbridge is not upset. I want if the Southbridge Civic Association felt that we should not have done that, they would have spoke out loud. But this whole CBA thing that she wants to stay in charge of and make sure that she's controlling, it ain't gonna happen. But what will happen is we will follow the process. I've asked for a meeting with the mayor. I want to make sure that all political persons know we're going to follow the process and we're going to bless our seniors. That's near and dear to my heart. And when you start messing with my seniors, you're messing with me personally. So Hanifa, step back. Hold your people off. Tell them they're barking up the wrong tree now. Because East Zion Fair will not be intimidated, because its leader can't be intimidated. I apologize, but I wanted to have that commentary today, and you will be hearing it all throughout this whole process as we're going through this whole zoning process. Because I want you to see the dirt and the grime that some people go through in order to stop that is good. Here it is, a black church doing the major constructions that we're doing. And she would dare have a person, a family that's been here for about 30 years, but the mother is, I understand the mother, there's some concerns that she may have had, but the daughter don't even live in this community, but she's the voice of the family. Hanifa, while you think you know what you're doing, you too can be exposed. I thank all of you for our time today, and Kobe, I apologize as I used this last moment, but I had to. Every week I come on, I fight for everybody. But this is a time when they're messing with my seniors. And when you're messing with my seniors, you're messing with me. So I apologize that I had to take this time and have this commentary, but I will definitely look forward to any rebuts and any refutes to what I said, and I will try my best to keep my integrity. Is there anything else you have on your table for today, Kobe?
Yeah, so just two things. One, last Sunday, I was able to be there with my goddaughter Eden as she was christened in her great-grandmother's family's church, St. Paul's on Market Street.
Oh, okay.
It was a beautiful ceremony, and she looked so amazing in her nice white gown. So again, that was an amazing opportunity for me. It was my first time being a godparent as well too. So going through that process and seeing that was amazing.
Now, before you give me a second one, did they challenge you to be a good godparent?
They did.
To be in her life and make sure that if anything happens to mom or dad, that you're there as a okay, good. Yes. I just want to make sure you got your right charge.
Yes. The second thing I want to say is this past Thursday, someone celebrated their birthday who's on the show. So I just want to say happy birthday, Pastor.
Well, thank you.
Hopefully you had a good day.
I did. I had a good day, and I appreciate you even remembering. I'm a year older. When you get in your 50s, you don't start talking about how old you are. But I did enjoy my day, and I thank you so very much. And for those of you who are praying for my mom is doing a little bit better. And I thank you for all your cards, your prayers, and you keep me in your prayer and keep us lifted as God do greater things. Until the next time, this is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
See you later, man.
Take care, y'all.